Yeah, so just give it a couple seconds to like actually start broadcasting, but
Um,
technically we're going now.
okay. Is this your first one since you've gotten back from your trip? From the trip?
Yeah, yeah, bro. I actually haven't been doing my podcast in a while. That's why I was kind of I'm excited. Like it feels good to be back on here. I always have fun with these, but I just kind of I get lost in everything else, and so I
Yeah.
I, I forget to kind of put time aside for all this because this is definitely well, for one, I have to like set a good chunk of time for the
Hmm.
podcast because sometimes it could go pretty long. So there's
Yeah.
always that mentality. Um, and then it is like I should have like a stationary setup all set up right here just so I could kind of like go back and forth real easy. But I don't do
Yeah.
that, so then it becomes then a little like chore like to set it up and shit.
Yeah. Set up and pack
Yeah,
up. Set up and pack up. Yeah.
yeah.
I was working on my basically my lighting production since I got back,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a hassle too, bro, because he basically had to take everything out, from wherever I have it all stored up,
Mm-hmm.
and then set it all up, just so I can utilize it for a few hours and then pack it all up again, because I did it all outside. There was no room to do it anywhere like inside where I can just leave it there, and I don't want it to get damaged overnight. So,
Well, what were you doing?
uh,
You were like troubleshoot, like you were like setting up the settings or something.
well, yeah, basically because the this was the first wedding that I've had that where where they were just gonna do full production on my end. So basically, like what I would charge them for full production would be like up lighting, moving heads,
Mm.
intelligent lighting for their entire event. So have a spotlight focused on their grand entrance, have spotlights on their first dance, the move the all the lights moving in synchronization and patterns with one another. Basically, setting all that up. And the software that I'm using right now is a little different than what I was using before. I was using a program called ADJ Airstream,
Mm-hmm.
and basically you could use your iPad to create light shows. It works like in essence like a DMX controller, but
Yeah.
everything on your iPad. And yeah, I was just basically running the shows, man. It's been a while since I've actually had to use everything together, so I just wanted to make sure I was ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool, bro. Let's go ahead and start. I don't see if it's broadcasting yet, but I did get my notification on my phone. So
Hmm.
whenever that goes off, it is up and running typically.
Cool.
Oh, I think I see it now. I think I see it going. But
Cool.
uh, I know I feel like it's kind of rusty. I haven't done it in a while, but from behind the booth, what up, friends, family, and listeners? Welcome, welcome to the show. Episode 34, featuring my friend
34.
Radioklash. What up, Radioklash?
What's up, bro? How you doing, Wally?
I'm great, man. Thank you for asking. I mean, we both actually just got back from Miami, so
Yeah.
I think that little, it's amazing. Kind of like you kind of forget, but it's amazing how taking a little bit of time off, getting that little escapism, and then coming back to it. Like I don't know about you, but I really just felt like hitting the ground running.
Yeah, definitely, man. And especially when you're out there and you're getting paid a paid vacation to go out and work, man. It's just if it hits different than you're just taking a normal vacation. You're like out there doing work. It motivates you to come back home and get more work done so you can have more opportunities like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You know it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're hitting the nail on the head. I mean, and it just it's certain things in DJing that like really like reignite your fire, and that's definitely the case. Like when you say it, like when you put it that way, because that's so
Yeah.
true. It's so true.
Yeah. Yeah. And then for me too, man, like kind of going on the tone of reigniting my fire, like dude, I just had a wedding this past weekend and dude, man, like it felt number one, it felt good to be back, and number two, like just the energy, dude. It was it felt it you could just feel it like from everybody, like even the music and working on the production, like even the production was on point. Everything just felt like even when the bride and groom like did their grand entrance, you felt it,
Hmm.
um, the song selection, from the song selection just to the vibe, like, and then not to mention getting paid too.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like, oh man, things are almost, you see the light under the tunnel almost.
Yeah, yeah,
Where and it makes me want to just kind of go ham on it again, because at first, for before the pandemic, there was a lot of events that were in the books, but unfortunately right now I'm still working, basically playing chess and trying to reorganize most of them. Some of them canceled, some of them I'm doing them, but unfortunately, like, they're not the same right now.
yeah.
I think this was the first one that was, dude, it felt really really good to just get people to have fun. I
Right.
take that stuff for granted sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's oh go ahead.
No, no. You,
That's what I that's what I said too. I told my viewers that I don't think that cuz I've always been very appreciative of DJing. Like I truly do love it, and I think that, like I said, I think my appreciation for it is there, has been there, because I do realize, like, yo, if it wasn't for this, I'd be doing something else. And so I'm very
right.
thankful for this. But I will say that in all this like bullshit, um, the thing that like, shit, I'm like losing my train of thought. But all I know is to say, so the thing that it did do, I would say, is it increased my like capacity for the appreciation, like, so if
Right.
my appreciation was here, like, yeah, I was at its fullest, like, appreciating it. But
Hmm.
now that I've like gone through some shit this year, like, I'd say the tank is bigger now,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 And
For
that's good, man. That's good. And uh, I think you should let your viewers know, like, what exactly you got booked to do in Miami, because that's actually a really cool story within itself. How I met up with you out there, dude, and how I keep meeting you in the most dopest places. Like, for instance, we'll go to a festival. I don't even know that you're gonna be there, and then I see that you post something. I'm like, hey, dude, what's up? And then we end up hanging out. And
yeah,
basically, that's most of our outings are like that, dude, which is really cool, man.
yeah, for sure,
But
for sure.
yeah. So what were you doing in Miami?
Yeah, so I mean, that's good, I mean, I'm sure it would have came up eventually, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so for those who don't know, I recently went out to Miami for like 5 days, I want to say. And the reason I went is because I DJ'd this conference on the regular, like, that's held out here in LA. I've been DJing that conference for about 5 years now. Um, 2 years ago was the first time. The conference does travel a little bit, but it was kind of like on a smaller scale. So 2 years
Yeah.
ago, they actually did it kind of like almost to scale of the one that they have in LA, but they did it in New York. So in New York, they had the event, and the person who runs the event, like the pretty much the boss of it,
Yeah.
asked if I would be interested in going, to New York. So they
Yeah.
hired me out for that. And then last year I was gonna go out to New York again, but because of COVID, it got
Hmm.
shut down, right? And in LA, they did a conference again, but it was all virtual. They did it from LA, but it was pretty much the same weekend that they usually do the LA one, but it was all
Yeah.
virtual. So it was only like maybe 5, 6 of us in this little space where there's like a main stage, and I'll like go into detail as to what it is. But yeah, there's like a
Hmm.
main stage, then there was like my little DJ area, and then pretty much someone running um, like the camera work and like helping with the stream stuff. So, and then
Right.
just to go into detail as far as the conference is, um, it's a 3-day conference geared towards college students, and um it's just a lot of information, like things that you should know, things that would help you like kind of get through college, um and like motivational speakers.
Right.
They have a lot of panelist stuff. It's just a lot of information, really good stuff.
Cool.
I actually learned a lot from it myself. So then, back to the whole Miami thing. The guy who runs the conference, he lives in Miami, and
Dope.
he wanted to do one in Miami, and this one would be for geared towards first generation students. So he actually called me up, and it was like, hey man, I hope everything's okay. Um, would you be interested in coming to Miami? You DJ out here. I'd pay your flight. Got a rental car for you. You'd have a hotel room, and then I'd pay you. Of course. And so, my eyes lit up. Like, what the hell? Like, yeah, I'd be fucking honored.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
So, I did have that opportunity, and that's when I ended up running into you. So I was out there like on my paycation, as I kept saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And ended up like hitting, turning out that you were there. I actually had a lot of friends in Miami that weekend, which is
Yeah.
so crazy. But because I even ran into a friend that like I hadn't seen in probably like 4 years, and she lives
Oh
in
wow.
Oregon or Washington. She lives in Washington. But yeah, I ended up running into her. But it's just kind of crazy that coincidentally we were all kind of there that same weekend.
Dude, everybody went to Miami.
Yeah.
$50 flights. Yeah, I was just listening to a podcast, and they're talking about they're talking to the mayor of Miami, and he was talking about, well, yeah, I think it was just uh like an excessive amount of people because it was like cheap flights, cheap hotel that stay, so where basically everything's open to,
Yeah.
and so everybody's just kind of looking for an opportunity to to have a little bit of fun, man. We miss going out, Miss.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean,
Hmm.
and that was the place to be, considering like that shit's fully like wide open.
Yeah, it was cool, man. Just this whole pandemic has kind of slowed things down dramatically for me, and it was nice to be able to take a break from just reality in essence. And
Mm.
I think even when I came back and I told you that, I was like, well, we're back to reality, and it's a good one at that, because I mean, we're getting back to normal, and I see everything that you've been doing, and the potential of what like is to come for you, for myself. I'm excited to see these things, man. And I know I don't really work in the club industry as much as you do, but I do a lot of the private work, and I have done events where it's the motivational speaker, and then you're basically playing for the panels when they come up, if there's awards or anything like
Right,
that.
right,
I've done those events, pay well too, man, and they're a lot of fun too. You get to play. Basically, you create the vibe for those events, just like anything else, but the
right,
vibe is a little bit more different.
right,
Um, yeah, and a lot of people appreciate the technical aspect of it too during those events too. So you could, basically uh use do whatever you do, like as far as your skills, get to showcase a little bit if you want to. and then
right.
and the weddings and stuff, it's not really like that. It's more play what the client wants.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah.
which I don't
Oh,
mind. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, I mean, it is cool, and like I said, it's fun because I get to interact with these students, and also like the fact that the boss just literally lets me play whatever I want. Like, there's a lot of times where you're it's kind of, you get a little unsure, especially in the virtual world, because
Right.
there's no like there's always no clapping. There's
Hmm.
it's just all this tech stuff. So you
Yeah.
do kind of get a little bit sometimes, but like in your head a little bit. But I mean, the cool thing is my boss is just so like laid back. Honestly, it works out. Like, it's a good group of people, because I'm happy just to fucking be there, and he's happy just to have
Right.
music. So
Yeah.
when you're, and it's not that the standards are low, but like when you're, it's that easy going, like you can
Yeah.
kind of do no wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then you're more relaxed too. So in a way, like, you're focused, but at the same time, if you're relaxed, you'll be able to do your job a lot better, instead of being in a tense situation where it's stressful, and then sometimes you're not able to think, or like not know what to play next. You're drawing blanks. If you're more relaxed in that environment, it makes it easier for you to just do your thing, right?
Right. Definitely. Definitely,
Yeah.
bro. So I did want to dive down, your story. I was gonna say dive down your hole. I did want to dive down your story, and
Yeah.
because for those of you who do not know, like me and this guy, like we always have a great time whenever we meet each other. But I mean, we've probably, I don't know, hung out like maybe 5 times. I think
Give or take.
yeah,
Yeah.
give or
And then
take.
I'll see you, and I don't really count the times where I just like briefly see you at the bar,
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
that's what I was
You
counting.
know.
That's what I was counting.
Yeah. You were counting those times
Because I know
too.
I've seen you at
Now,
Green Room a few times, and I mean, we'll say hi and bye, but we never really get to talk.
right. And then the times that we have hung out where like at festivals. I think the last one I saw you at was dude, right before the pandemic, I think. Was it One Love?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was One Love.
Hmm.
Dude, do you remember when I had the joint and I was lighting it and I lit my mustache on fire?
I remember you telling me that. I don't remember
You
like
didn't
seeing
see,
that.
oh, you
I don't
didn't
remember
see
seeing
it?
that.
Yeah, I was on a good one. But
Yeah,
yeah, that was a fun show. But yeah, back to yeah, my so you're saying my story.
yeah, yeah.
So you're talking about from like the beginning, from when I first started DJing, or
In the beginning,
how
baby.
all right, man. So I'm a musician. I play guitar, a little bit of bass. I self-taught, YouTube taught, and then I joined a few bands. Dude, the spectrum's kind of weird, dude. I went from being like in a pop band, a pop punk. No, I'm sorry, like a pop band, kind of like think Jonas Brothers. So
What?
yeah, yeah. So I was in a pop band, kind of like Jonas Brothers.
Whoa, whoa, wait, time out though, really quick, because I
Yeah.
gotta get the juice, bro. Do you have a fucking? You gotta have like a band photo, dog.
Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I do
You
actually.
don't gotta
Yeah,
show it right now, but
yeah,
eventually, that's from behind the booth, and that'll be the
yeah, yeah, for sure.
exclusive shit.
Yeah,
I
I'll
want to
send
see
it to
that
you.
shit, dog.
I'm pretty sure there's a printed album cover somewhere around
Damn,
here.
I want
And
to see
then
that shit.
yeah, and so yeah, what we can do is like I'll show you that one, and then so then after that, things weren't really working out with that band. So then me and my buddy started another band.
Hmm.
Um, and this one was my favorite one. And in between then there was a few more, like there was a hardcore band, but then there was this last one which was the more crucial one because this was where I made that segue in between being a guitar player in a band to start
And
DJing.
this is like
And
time frame wise. This is like high school, or when is this? Middle
I
school.
think this band, give or take, I was maybe like 18, 19 years old
Oh,
at the
okay,
time.
okay.
Yeah, so
So you
and
you
yeah,
you actively participated in a boy band. Is that what I'm understanding?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I played the guitar. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I
for
just
sure,
fucking
man.
with you, man.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. We weren't that nothing nothing proud. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not ashamed of it either,
Yo, I've had
Like
better
it's
days.
yeah. It was a learning experience. I
No,
think
it's
there
all
was
good.
um the highlight of that was playing like for like an all girls school when we were like young. We were like 16, 17 years old. We played at some all girls school in Pomona, man. And yeah, dude, it was like the first experience of like having a like a groupie or something. It was so weird, like because you're not really that famous, but to them, they're just like boys,
Fuck it,
you
fuck it.
know. But yeah, going back to the story, so I was in this band. We just recorded an album, and it's actually really good. So what we'll do is I'll show you that picture, and if you want, like, I'll show you the music too from this band too, so you can kind of see we were a pop punk band.
All right,
Uh,
bet.
yeah, dude, it was music was really really fun. It's yeah, there's bands influence like Set Your Goals, Newfound Glory, even Blink 182, 4 Year Strong. So all these bands just uh there was complexity in the guitar with heavy breakdowns, but at the same time, like you could circle pit to the music. So we're very high energy music.
Right, right.
And then I think one of my buddies at the time started going clubbing, and the first club I ever went to was something called the Heist. I believe it was on Thursdays. It was at Florentine Gardens in LA
Mm.
or in Hollywood. And Yeah, dude, my eyes just kind of opened to this whole new world. It was basically this electro scene where I believe the main promoter for that night was a dude by the name of Hyphy Crunk. I don't know if you heard of
Hey,
Hyphy
you
Crunk.
know what?
Yeah,
Hey, I
yeah.
seen the very first time I ever seen Hyphy Crunk was at my first EDC in like 2009, and I had a
Oh wow.
fucking dude. He gave like promo shirts out, and I had a
Yeah.
fucking white tank top that said Hyphy Crunk on it, dude. And I never
Oh
like seen
wow.
that guy since fucking EDC.
Wow. Yeah, I think he branched out to do a lot of the more behind the scenes like stage setup, lighting setup. Don't quote me
Yeah.
on that, but that's I think. But he still probably still DJs. Um, and yeah, so I saw all that environment, and just like that, I was like, I think I want to do that. I want to at least try, you know.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, just to kind of fast forward it a little bit. Because I was still under the age of 21. Because I remember playing my first club and not being old enough to drink.
Well,
And
well, how did you I mean, before you go too fast, because I
yeah,
do like, there is a lot of people that listen that are like on the younger side of it. So
right,
I
right,
am
right.
curious as to like, as far as your learning process, you don't have to go too in depth if you don't
Hmm.
want to, but I am curious about like I always like hearing the learning
Yeah, for
story
sure, for
because
sure.
I went to a DJ school, and I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that
yeah,
my
yeah,
learning experience was way different than a lot of people. And I feel like the
yeah.
people that learn like organically, they usually have
Hmm.
some trippy stuff. Like, I have an instructor that pretty much when he started, bro, he made his first mixtape with like cassettes, and he would like fucking
Oh
cut
shit.
pieces together and make and tape it, and then he'd have like a little fucking bootleg ass cassette, and then he'd record that onto like a master one, and he would cross his fingers like
Oh
that
man.
tape wouldn't rip apart as he's trying to record it on the other side.
Oh, yeah, that's rough.
It's crazy, right? Like who the fuck would
Yeah.
think of that shit, bro? I love that story.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. And yeah, for me, I so the way it kind of started was obviously you need equipment.
Right.
And at the time I was working at this warehouse uh building guitars actually. So I was playing guitars all day. Dead end job though, man. Like, but it was kind of like a dream job for the time.
Right, for
Just playing
sure.
guitars all day,
Right.
like you're not really doing much but other playing guitars all day.
Hmm.
And yeah, I saved up enough to buy some techniques, and I think the first mixer I bought was a Pioneer. Damn, it was an old one. DJM something, dude.
Hmm.
Um, but basically, you would have to with this mixer. What I really liked about it because you would have to loop on the live. So um, basically, if you were gonna either you had a record, but since we played a lot of the house music, you can if say something has a BPM somewhere between 120 to 130, and you're playing like some some tech house or just something electro ish, getting that loop down, bro. That was like the funnest part because that's when that perfect loop was kind of like a show of respect in a way of like you got your timing down. You can get your timing down,
Mm.
and say if you knew how to do that, it's like okay, like
And
he
wait,
knows how to DJ.
and you're
Go
saying
ahead.
the loop was for what or what?
Basic. Okay, so you know how you go to a club and
Oh,
well
for
nowadays,
swapping DJs.
yeah, for swapping
Okay, okay,
DJs.
yeah,
If you didn't have a record,
yeah,
some mixers allowed you to loop within
yeah,
the mixer,
yeah, yeah,
and sometimes it could be like a 32 bar, 16 bar loop,
yeah, yeah.
and that's the mixer basically what I had. It had that live. I just remember that live mixing
I know what you're
the
talking
beat
about because
loop.
the
Yeah,
fucking Pioneer mixers have that. That's like a like really
yeah,
notable feature that everybody was using before the swapping thing.
yeah, yeah. So that's how old the mixer was. But yeah, so I bought my equipment and as far as learning, I had a buddy. So what was the name of the DJ school you went to?
Scratch DJ Academy.
So I have a buddy that went to that same school and he went and did the lessons.
What's your buddy's name?
His name is Gerardo. His DJ name was Hyperactive. I think you might know my buddy Gerardo.
Hmm.
Um,
It doesn't sound familiar, but maybe if I seen him.
yeah, well he doesn't DJ that much
Oh,
anymore.
okay.
But so I would see uh his notebook and I would see how they would do song structure
Hmm.
and how they would break down song structure.
Yeah.
And basically from that, all he really told me was, yeah, he broke down, what a verse is, a chorus is, how to break down 16 bars, 32 bars. And he said, okay, what you really want to do is just whenever you mix, always mix on the one. The easier concept of it,
Right.
obviously it goes way more crazier than
For
that.
sure, for sure.
Um,
But simply, yeah, simply
but yeah,
put.
mix on the one. And if you like, basically, if a song has an introduction, like a DJ intro, and you're mixing on the one, if you start that mix at the beginning of the chorus, and you mix out by the end of it, I would say most of the time, it's usually a 32 bar mix, and by the time that the chorus is over, uh, that you can drop the next song.
Right.
And basically, learning that, I was able to just get the hang of mixing music.
Right.
I started off very briefly with records. Obviously, it's way more challenging to do it all by ear.
Mm-hmm.
But I never played any shows with just records. I would just collect them, and the ones that I collected, I would write the BPMs on them, and then I would put them in a certain group. And basically, whatever I had, even if it didn't have an introduction, I would find a way to get that song dropped on the one, or beat match it in,
Right.
however I could, without any other techniques.
Nice.
And so I did that, and then I heard about Serato, and this was just the thing that they were using in order to DJ at clubs. And this was when, like, the 56 and the 57 were like popping. Everybody had the 56 and the 57s at the club.
Right.
Eh,
I had a
And
56. Oh no, actually, I
did
think I
you?
had a 57. I think
You
I
had
had
a
a 50. Yeah,
57.
that's the
How,
yeah
how,
the Rain 57.
how much you pay for it back in
Uh,
the day?
that's a good question. I want to say probably between 6 and 800. I would assume.
Okay.
I would assume that's the
Yeah.
price.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, dude, my mixer at the time, because you would still have to get the Serato box with the Pioneer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I paid like 300 for the mixer, and me and my buddy bought the Techniques together. Um,
Dude, I got my Techniques brand new. Did you get yours brand new?
oh no,
Oh.
dude, I did not get those brand new. No,
You
you
say,
got
oh
them
hell
brand
no,
new, baller.
bro.
Dang,
I still have the Technique box. Like I'm pointing at it right now, but it's in my garage. I have the box. I kept one
wow,
box. I don't.
dang,
Yeah, the 12, my MK5 box. I have it.
dang, man. So you bought them new? Do you remember? Um, I know stuff like that can sometimes like trigger memories and stuff. So do you remember that day at all? Like were you excited? Could you not sleep or um
No, I didn't. You know what? I didn't really know. Like, as a kid, I didn't really know the magnitude of what I was kind of
right.
doing.
Mhm.
So I just knew pretty much in my head the way that I did it because I started on a controller.
Mhm.
Um, I started on a controller and then like once I went to the DJ school, I fell in love with vinyl. I was like, oh, this is cool,
Yeah.
it just made more sense too because controllers are cool, but they're so fucking compacted. Everything's like you're doing this like it's all tiny.
Right.
So
Mhm.
being on the vinyl, I was like, oh yeah, this is where it's at, bro.
Right.
So
And then
yeah, I made
go
it a
ahead.
point where I was like, I need like if I want to be good, that's what I need. I need those. So sure
Yeah.
enough, like eventually I got the turntables.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I remember that feeling too. It was honestly, I think what made it kind of worth it was the first time I actually played in front of people. Um that kind of was that moment for me. It wasn't really the turntables. It was like that moment of like not being able to sleep, or you're just you're nervous, you're excited, all that stuff.
See, that's
I
cool.
actually,
That's
yeah,
cool because I didn't like I said I didn't get that, and that's awesome
yeah,
though.
yeah. It was a dope feeling, man. And to be honest with you, like I kind of felt that this past weekend because it wasn't so much that I'm nervous that I'm gonna fuck up. It was more like, dude, I haven't done this in a long time. I know I still got it, but I'm rusty. and at the same time the excitement's making me nervous. But
Dude, you're in the car
um,
like fucking Rocky in there, huh? Like dun dun dun
yeah,
dun, dun. Like all fucking.
basically,
Oh, I'm ready. Put me in. Put me in.
yeah, dude. And honestly, that probably brings out the best of you too, because you're just kind of like ready to go.
Yeah,
You're aware, and
you're
you're ready to
excited.
go. And you prepared too. Um,
That's always good too, man. Preparation
yeah.
goes a
And
long way.
yeah, I know, dude. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been neglecting it this pandemic, and it's fine. It's not really after, especially after just doing this one. Um, I feel like I'm right back there. I think I do need to go through music, see what has been popping this entire time while we've been indoors.
Mm,
Just I'm gonna just type in quarantine and see what pops up on my computer. Like all
yeah.
the quarantine songs. Um, but yeah, I started off. I remember I did a pool party, and at this pool party there was a lot of people that were within the industry, like in the circle, like maybe in the Pomona area at the time. And after that, I built relationships with the people that work those events, and I was a night owl, dude. I would go out basically every day of the week while I still had a full-time job,
Mm-hmm.
playing guitars. And yeah, there was basically a night for everything. And the nights that I usually would play would probably be like Friday, Saturday. And then, on Monday, I would go to LA for Motown Mondays. Tuesday would be like Avenue. Wednesday would be like Milk and Honey. Thursday would be Heist.
I'm surprised we
Um,
never ran into each other at what's it called, Motown Mondays, because I used to go all the time, bro.
dude, I know, man. And I
I
I
used to go
frequent that
solo
place a
dolo
lot.
too.
Oh, really? You
Yeah,
went
I would
solo?
go solo all the time, bro. Because I mean, well, I did tell my chat too though that I used to use it as like a little date spot. But
Yeah.
I did go solo dolo all the time because my homies weren't really, it was a fucking like realistically, dude. Like, there's not a
It's
lot
a
of people
Monday.
your well that, but then also people like I in your age. Like when I went, I was going in my early 20s,
Yeah.
and people were my homies didn't want to go fucking listen to Motown. Like,
Yeah.
they if they have a day off, bro, they don't want to go to Motown. And I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
I don't hold
Yeah.
anything against them, but I
Hmm.
fucking sure did. I was like, yo, let's go.
Yeah, dude. It's a and
I miss it.
dude,
I miss it
honestly,
for sure.
yeah,
Like now you're
yeah,
making
me
me
too.
miss
It's
it.
coming back though, man. I hope it comes back. I hope
Yeah.
those people like stay doing those types of event.
Yeah. I hope so too.
Like California Soul, all that stuff. I hope a lot of that stuff comes back. And at the same time, though, I hope new shit comes out too that's popping, that's different.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm down to. I embrace it all, dude. Whatever. Basically, I'm gonna soak it all in and try to learn from all of it because I mean I benefit from it, all of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I gotta soak it up like a sponge because you just never know, dude, when you might need to just pull something out of anywhere depending on what vibe you're playing. And that goes back to the preparation aspect of it. And yeah, I normally when I go to these events, I used to have this idea of like, oh, is the DJ gonna be good or not? And
Mm.
instead of just having a good time, which would be the which would be the ignorant asshole in me that would do this stuff. But that dude, that's changed so much.
Flowtron's
I
in here
basic
listening too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's in
That's
here.
Oh, dude.
So I mean,
Yeah,
I
man.
remember we had this similar conversation like this.
Yeah, man.
No, but
It
keep
was
going. Keep going.
yeah, well, yeah, dude. My mindset's definitely changed as far as like how I how how I was back in the beginning of all of this. I'm definitely way more humbled now,
Mm.
and especially after this pandemic too. Obviously,
Right.
um, I'm down for the vibe, whatever it is to kind of just learn. I don't judge any type of music genre for whatever it is, dude. I've done events from, dude. I'm pretty sure you have too, like where you might be stuck. I don't know, dude. I've done like I can think of a time where I've played country music for the first time and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I
Mm.
even though if I've done my homework, I still don't know what the bangers are.
Yeah.
You basically have to wait for people to kind of like either you go out of your way, go to a country line dancing club, or branding iron in San Bernardino, you do some shit like that,
Yeah.
or yeah, you got to throw yourself out in the field, or if not, you're gonna learn as you go, and it's gonna be a shitty time if you can't soak that all in and be able or wanting to learn during those times.
Yeah,
Um,
man. I mean, I will say this as far as country goes, bro. It's just one of those ones where I'm like, nah, I don't know
mhm.
country. Um, and I mean, I always like, pretty much. Fortunately, I'm at a point with my gigs and stuff where like, I could be more choosy with my stuff.
Right,
So I'm not afraid to say no, or that's just not for me because that's like a luxury that you kind of earn. Like once you
for
start building
sure.
your shit up, bro, then
Yeah,
in the beginning you say kind of yes to everything because you kind of need that money, whatever. But
right.
as you start to grow, like that's really the beautiful part of it too, is that you can really pick and choose your shit. And I think
Yeah,
that um like with that being said, that's the beautiful thing about Twitch too,
yeah.
um because of that added income, like it makes me second think about going out to gigs, like do I really
Yeah.
need to be here? Is this really worth my time? Because quite frankly, I could do a 4-hour gig somewhere like at a little like bar,
Yeah.
and I'd have to drive there. I have to probably pay for my drinks there. Like
Yeah.
there's all these kind of things that kind of come with it now, and it's like, yo, is this worth it? Because if not, like I could fucking do everything that I'm doing here in my fucking
Hmm.
garage, and
Yeah.
chances are I'll have a better time in my garage because at least there I can legit play whatever the fuck I want. And then
Yeah.
there's people in there that are like bullshitting with me. Whereas like if I'm out at a gig, like a lot of time it's like some behind the scenes shit. I mean, this is
Yeah.
very like specific areas, but
Right.
you get what
Hmm.
I'm saying, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about this though? Don't you just miss like people like vibing to you? You got the whole room jam packed, and like everybody's just singing along to basically everything that you're playing. You
Yeah.
just you got them at the palm of your hand, and basically whatever you play is just fire.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I
and.
mean, I do miss that. But that's what I was
Hmm.
saying, that like if it's not gonna be like that, then
Right.
I'll like really weigh it out. Like, do I really need to do
Yeah.
this? Because, and I just mean that in the sense of like, because the reality of it is like everybody wants to DJ at every event, bro. Like,
For sure.
oh, I'm
Yeah.
fucking having a yard sale. Could you like play some music? Like they legit, if like
Yeah.
your family would take you up on that. Like if you
Hmm.
offered, they would be like, who the fuck would
Hmm.
say no? Like they're like, oh,
Right.
you know what? Nah, we don't need a DJ. For the most
Hmm.
part, every event would love or benefit from a DJ, but
Right.
the reality of it is not everybody's willing to pay for it. And
Yeah.
the reality of it is like, is it really a necessity for the DJ to be there? You know what I mean? A lot of times it
Hmm.
really, I mean, not a lot of times, but sometimes it really isn't. Sometimes people are
Yeah.
having a fucking baby shower and there's just like games going on and they want a DJ just because, it's a
Yeah.
flex.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
hey, like, my thing is like, all right, you want to flex by having me here? Well, then you're going to have to flex by paying me, what the
Yeah.
fuck
It's
it's going to
gonna. It's
be,
gonna.
you know?
Yeah. And dude, I don't do events like that anymore.
And there you
Just
go.
because.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you know your worth. You
Mm,
know what you're worth, and I'm not gonna lie to you. The wedding scene is there's a lot of money to be made in that scene, and
yeah.
not to mention that like um I've been doing it for I don't know. Let's see, I'm 32 now. I've been running like full time maybe like 6 7 years, and
Nice.
but bro, it's changed my life. I would if you would have told me, when I was like 18 19 years old in a boy band, like yo, you're gonna do weddings and corporate events, I would have laughed at you, dude. I would have been like, you're funny, bro. You funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I basically did the club stuff, and like you said, all those outings and going out and being in that scene, it was tiring. You can almost say like it burnt me out a little bit,
Right.
just going out all the time. And then you kind of just start thinking like financially, like what's going to be more important to you, being in that scene. And then not to mention, like, yeah, you can, dude, you can make a living in that scene too. The work that you have to put in, especially on the back end, is, I wouldn't say it's the same thing on as my stuff, but it's just, you know, posting every day,
Mm.
building a following, and then
Yeah.
it almost becomes a popularity contest too at the
Yep.
same time,
Sometimes.
as far as like valuing skill and rocking a crowd, and then how you look and
Versus
who you
fucking
can bring.
likes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't really like that aspect of it, because to be honest with you, I somewhat dealt with it in the band scene too when first coming up. Like, I've played at the Whiskey a Go Go, but anybody and their moms can play at the Whiskey a Go Go. I don't know if you've ever heard of that venue, but it's a really
No.
famous venue in on Sunset Boulevard, where basically everybody that was in a rock band wished they could play there, or has played there in the beginnings, like in I would say, like, between the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s. Um, there's places where everybody used to play, and so when I was in high school, me and my buddies decided we want to play there,
Right.
and we hit up their booking agency, and they basically said, if basically it's a pay to play, so you sell your tickets and you give them the
Mm.
money. They keep all the money,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to play for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And we fucking bustled our hustled our asses to kind of make all that money. And I remember that left a really bad taste in my mouth as far as like doing that. So then in the club scene, I saw that shit like that was happening too. Like, well,
Yeah.
who are you bringing, how
Mm.
many people you bringing, and then it was guest list this, guest list that, and yeah, dude, that was off putting too, man. And around maybe my mid 20s, I met one of my buddies, and he's still a good friend to this time, and he was working weddings,
Mm.
and I
And
remember the first time. Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say put a pin in that really quick because I do want to
Yeah,
like tell people this because I think some people kind of get trapped in this whole notion of like, well, why is that a problem? Like, why is selling tickets a problem? Like, it's your show, blah blah, right? Well,
yeah,
the thing is too that I want people to think about is the fact that like a lot of times the show that wants you to do that isn't exactly like your ideal like situation, like for instance, I don't know if this is the case, but for instance, like
yeah,
you're on a lineup with all these bands, but you know like often it'll be like determined ticket sales as to like where you play your set, like time
yeah,
frame, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like if you only sold 10 tickets, then you're the fucking opener versus the guy who sold 100. But it shouldn't
Yeah,
be like that. It should be based on skill and based on how many people are there for like the main act or whatever the fuck, like it should have taken all those factors. And so I say this too with when I have to do like the ticket sales thing. Like I honestly would not mind that if it was a
yeah,
show that I stood 100% behind and I knew it was a good time. Like I
yeah.
could vouch for it, like I've
Mhm.
prime example, I always use this example, but I don't care. The do-over, like if I had to sell tickets for the
Yeah,
do-over, bro, like
yeah,
I would fucking sell tickets, bro. I would sell good tickets too because
yeah,
because I love the do-over. I'm very passionate about it. I love
yeah,
like what it is, and I would be able to sell it. I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna play
yeah,
here. I'm gonna play a dope set. There's gonna be like 4 other dope ass DJs that are gonna do a
yeah.
dope set.
Mhm.
It's free to get, well, that's usually the selling point, but it's free to get in. But like I
Yeah.
know everything. Like they got sangria, like it goes till 10 o'clock, blah blah. I know everything, and I would be able to sell it really good because I stand by it. It's a product that I stand by. Whereas a lot of these
It,
things, oh, and
mhm.
also I will say this, like I know that at least like if I did that, like people
Mhm.
wouldn't regret it.
Yeah.
Whereas there's these some venues that are like just popping up, and they want you to do
Yeah.
like they want you to do the most for them, and they've never even thrown a party in their life, and then come be it when you sell these tickets and these people show up, it's like a fire fest. Like there's no fucking bathrooms. What the fuck, like whatever. Like
Yeah.
the audio sounds like shit. All this shit. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking put my brand on that or stamp my name on that shit.
Uh-huh. Yeah, dude. I remember there was this one time. it was basically that same scenario where I can't remember if I sold tickets, but definitely I brought a shit ton of people,
Mm.
and it was kind of again it was bullshit. I was DJing, and at the time, like I was kind of getting in with a lot of the people like in that electro scene, and I forgot the name of the event, but dude, funny story. So like the event's in Long Beach, and they have a lineup of DJs, and the headliner is Robin S. Do you know who Robin S is?
I don't
Uh,
think so.
the singer, the girl that sings "Show Me Love."
Oh, okay.
You got to show
I
me
knew
love.
that
Yeah,
name, but I was like, I don't think she
yeah.
DJs.
No, no, no. She was basically gonna play that song,
Oh, okay.
maybe another song too.
Yeah.
So, but at the time though, like this song, man, dude, like this was the song that got all the girls ready, like like where's all my single ladies at? This was the song, or the as soon as that synth hit, that doom 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 doom
Mm-hmm.
doom doom, the girls were like like
Mm-hmm.
right away, dude, and so yeah, everybody went. Basically, it sold itself.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the do over, dude. That brand right there, like it's creme of the creme of DJs.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna go there to get a dope ass vibe, music. Skill has a lot to do with skill. Everything there is gonna be dope. It's gonna be an easy sell. This was an easy sell because of Robin S, but it
Right.
was ran by like some promoters that look, they've done shit before, but dude, let's just say this time, I saw what DJs like that were trying to come up that make it, at the time,
Mm-hmm.
got greedy with their times, um,
Mm-hmm.
and basically what ended up happening is Robin S didn't even go on, dude, because
Oh,
people DJs that ended up extending their times because they had a little ego problem and they were rocking the crowd and basically fucked up the whole entire schedule.
yeah.
And then at the end of the night, people are pissed because they didn't get to see Robin S.
Fuck
You
yeah.
know, and so I see that shit too, and I'm like, dude. So you bring your people to a place like this, and it's like, if it's legit and it's ran right, then I get it. There's a certain structure,
Yeah.
bro. Like
Yeah.
if you look at, like, for instance, if you go to Coachella, or if you see any and even DJs that tour, bro, their times are set on point. Unless
Yeah.
they're running the show, then they can do whatever the fuck they want. But if there's a set list, or I mean like a set timesheet with everybody on there, um, people can run it. Dude, I saw this documentary. Just I know it's kind of way off, but it was on Coachella, and it was the first time that Kanye played. He showed up
Oh
late.
yeah.
Do you think they extended his time? No, they didn't.
He thought that
It
they would
was
though. He tried
yeah,
it. He tried it.
he tried it, but it wasn't his show, dude.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was basically a collective of people, and obviously on a way smaller scale. When it comes to throwing a night like that, there's a lot of egos, bro, and for me, I just it wasn't worth it, just to keep doing it, and
Right.
I
So,
still,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, no, you go ahead, bro.
Oh no, I was just gonna just tie it all back up, in a bow.
Yeah.
And so, like, to go back to where we were is so you pretty much you were like seeing the politics of that early on, and then you're saying like that's
Mhm.
why you started leaning towards like doing the weddings thing, right?
Yeah, I saw the politics in it, and not to don't get me wrong, I will still do something from time to time with
Right.
my friends that still DJ,
Right.
um, and basically just to hang out, dude. I use this time to hang out with my friends and to kind of surround myself with the vibe and understand what's going on, like what's popping and what's working, what's not working,
Stay
because
tapped
I
in.
yeah, yeah, dude. Because I like I said, dude, I can take that and basically put that into what I'm doing.
Hmm.
In the wedding industry, in some way or form. Obviously, I can't get too ratchet at a wedding, but
Shit, man. I
yeah,
don't I mean the you know what it is because of
yeah,
like I don't because of my market is more wide than like solely
yeah,
weddings.
yeah,
People kind of people will kind of do that, bro. Like they they'll just be like, "Yo, fucking, hey, dog, just rip this shit right now." And I'm like, "Yo, grandma's
yeah.
over there. You all don't care about grandma?" And they're like, "No, she fucking her hearing aids off, bro. She can't hear shit. Like, fucking run it, dog."
Hey man, whoever's paying you is the
Hey,
boss. So like, if
exactly,
they tell you to
exactly,
run it, then run
exactly,
it, dude.
exactly,
You know.
exactly.
Yeah. So I was doing clubs here and then Yeah, my buddy got me into the whole wedding industry.
Mm.
Basically, it's a whole different ball game, dude. Your MC skills have to be sharp.
Yep.
You have to have professional equipment.
Yeah.
Like everything has to be professional.
Right.
I get it. We all start somewhere.
Right.
But basically, if you're gonna branch out to that scene, because there's a lot of opportunities in that industry too. You know, in that wedding, even quinceañeras, dude, bar mitzvahs, corporate events. But with that, you know, like you can't have an ego. You have to be able to
Yeah.
take people's requests. You have to know how
Mm.
to talk to people. You have to be a good salesperson. How you and you know basically you can take this and run it on to anybody that wants to do like the club and the bar stuff too. You know, how are you going to sell yourself to? How are you going to present your worth? To how are you going to put value into whatever services you provide? You know. Oh,
When you did your first wedding, do you remember understanding the magnitude of it, or yeah, like was the pressure on
dude.
or no?
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. My
Your
first,
first one, your
my
first one, huh?
yeah, my first one. I luckily though I did it for a family member, and they didn't really pay me that much. I think it was like $200.
Oh yeah.
And just to kind of put it in perspective, bro, I personally think it's tacky if a DJ brings a picnic table and they put a linen over it and they start DJing at a wedding. Like cover that shit up with something or put something there that looks more presentable. You know, we are talking about a wedding.
Yeah.
Um,
Wait,
at
wait.
this one, the first one that I did, I used basically a one of those transparent metal picnic tables, like the metal round ones. I put all my DJ shit on top of that. I had, as far as speakers, I was using stereo speakers from the living room that they had. The microphone that I was using, let's say from my feedback level, for me to get to the feedback, instead of having like a normal spectrum setting where like if your dial is at basically at 0 dB, which is 12 o'clock,
Mhm.
my feedback would get my I would dial it maybe 2 or 3, and I would get horrible feedback from the
I
mics.
feel like
um
you had one of those microphones where they have the cord cut. That's like for little kids, and it just has a little like,
it was it
like
was
a
it was
fucking pink top with a yellow handle and shit.
Yeah, man. And as for lighting, I had some weird, tacky little laser lights. Just it was bad.
You
That's just the
For
equipment.
lighting, I
Now
had
for
a
four,
flashlight that I would click on and off, fucking, and spin it around a little bit.
yeah, no, dude, I had a little like disco ball that went in front of the gear. Let's see. Yeah, my emceeing, I had an MC in Spanish. And yeah, it was horrible. The music, basically everything that you don't want to do at a wedding is what was done at this wedding. Unfortunately, but we all got to start somewhere.
And you know what's funny about that is that, so because I started at the DJ school, we did mock events, and so we did like a mock lounge, we did a mock club,
Right.
a mock wedding. Like that was our final.
Yeah.
And so when I did that final, and then I did my first wedding, bro, like I'm not gonna front, bro. Like I did not understand the magnitude of a wedding. Like now I fucking
Yeah.
know, like, dude, weddings are big fucking deals, right? But at the
Yeah.
time I was like, 20 years old, and people would ask me, they're like, "Hey, do you do weddings?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, I do them." Like all kind of smug, right? Like smug, right? Like, "Yeah, I do them." And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, "Okay, well, we're doing this, blah blah." And dude, they would hit me up like, you know, I mean, kind of like normal for a wedding, but for me as a kid, like at that age, I was like, yo, fucking leave me alone, bro. Because they would hit me
Yeah.
up like, hey, are you sure you could do it? You got the date locked
Mhm.
down, blah, blah. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, man, like I'll fucking be there kind of shit. And I would just do them.
Yeah.
I would legit like do them. I wouldn't even really do any prep work. Like probably look at everything the day before. Like, what does this email say? Like, all right,
Shit.
fucking here's so and so. They want this song. Let me get this song,
Damn.
I guess. Like legit, I would do it like the day before.
Yeah.
And I never really got any complaints, but like eventually I learned, I was like, yo, like this is like potentially the the only shot that they're gonna do this, and like you gotta not fuck it up, bro. Like just make sure,
Yeah.
because you're cutting it close the way that you're doing it. So make
Yeah.
sure you handle your shit, you know. So I learned, but
Hmm.
and I also understand like, hey, like some of these people spend like 20 grand on this shit, you know. So again,
Yeah,
do
man.
not fuck this up for them. Um,
Yeah, you know.
and
And then
fortunately, I don't
you
have any like horror stories where like, you know, I did anything really bad for a wedding,
right.
but
Hmm.
on my own, I kind of just matured into that. Hey, like you should take this more serious.
Yeah, and especially if you're getting paid to do it, right?
Yeah,
That's such a great honor to get paid to rock the crowd. And honestly, man, like, yeah, I took all that shit for granted. Uh, during the pandemic, you know, it felt like someone just kind of took everything out, swept the rug right under me, you know. And I didn't really have like a leg to stand on, but that was all kind of like a learning experience for me.
mm,
I
yeah,
didn't I didn't have a savings or anything like that. I was basically spending as I go.
mm,
Um, because the money was good, you know, like
yeah.
basically as soon as it came in one hand, I would go on a vacation with the other hand or buy new equipment or just go out with my friends or buy something, you
And
know?
you know, this whole thing was like, you know, unprecedented. We never like lived through anything like this before, where
Right.
it got shut the fuck down. You know, because
Yeah.
we lived through SARS. You know, going on,
Yeah.
and it didn't do what it did like now, like what COVID has
Yeah.
done to the
This
fucking world.
yeah, it fucked up our whole scene, our whole industry, man.
Yeah,
And which is why it's also kind of cool to kind of have this conversation with you because I know we're not the only ones that had to go through this. There
yeah,
was a bunch of us, you know. And even though there was a bunch of us, who can really say that they make a living being able to play music or DJing, you know?
mm,
There's that is a small handful within itself. There's a lot of people that say that they are DJs, but the ones that were working DJs, I'm talking about the guys that are making a living, paying rent, or just
well, we
basically
should
just
just
living.
say full time, right? Full
Yeah,
time.
full time, full
Yeah,
time, full time. Yeah. So yeah, regardless if you're in the club scene
right,
or
right,
doing private stuff or both, you know,
right.
and not being or just being accustomed to making a living that way, and then
Yeah,
to
yeah.
now to think like, what the fuck am I going to do? Um, for me, just my perspective, my story from this was dude, it took a lot of pride for me to get a job, you
Yeah.
know, like just to get a regular job. And it did suck, and it was a really really hard pill to swallow, you
Mm.
know, because you think you built your foundation, and it's crumbling right in front of your
Right.
eyes, you know. And for me, I didn't really see a. I know we talked about it in Miami as far as your motivation to do Twitch streams and to stay on top of it, bro. Like I applaud you for that. You know, like you're uh, not everybody did do that. There was a lot of people that that transition into the whole Twitch and more on the social media aspect of the DJing, and even that circle itself and making a living with that circle is even more rare, you know, than the guy that was a full time DJ. So now you got the
Yeah.
guys that were everybody that was full time DJ, and then you got the guys that did the whole mix cloud and the streaming and were able to be consistent on that, and
Right.
like that's even more rare. So you know, I know there's a lot of people that were in my situation also, you know, that had to get a job.
Yeah, for sure. For
Um,
sure. For sure. For
or
sure.
that or that collected that unemployment. But you know, for me the unemployment, it just wasn't enough, dude. Um, I there's just way too many bills. Even unfortunately prior to the pandemic, I had made investments in lighting and stuff, and I was paying all that stuff off,
Mm.
you know.
Mm.
And dude, to be honest with you, this last wedding that I did, I was able to utilize a lot of that stuff, and it was super exciting because it's like finally, dude, like finally, I
Yeah.
felt like a huge weight off of my shoulders because I'm like, dude, I can see the potential of what I can do with all of this, and
Right.
it felt good. It felt good, man. But yeah, man, I know it does suck. All but there is a light under the tunnel right now, man. And for someone like yourself, bro, like I really do believe that you're gonna hit the ground running because you have you built that foundation on the internet too, which is it's a good tool to have, you know,
Yeah.
on your end, you know.
Yeah,
And
I see social media as a tool, you know, like I talk about this a lot. especially since I went to school for essentially being a communication major,
Right.
and uh, I I think it's also in part the fact that I lean more on the optimist side. I'm more optimistic, and I like to
Hmm.
consider myself optimistic and realistic, um,
Yeah.
because I do see social media as a tool, and I like to utilize it, and I genuinely enjoy it. Like
Yeah.
everything that I share on there, um, I do it because I want to. Like
Hmm.
I don't even know when it happens, but I'll say it's probably very, very rare that I do something. It's on my social media that I don't want there. I mean, I literally can't even really think of that because
Right.
if I don't want to put it, I'm not gonna put it. Like quite frankly,
Yeah.
and
That's good, man.
I like, I like to use it. I like to utilize it in all shapes and forms. Like whether it's like, just talking to people and trying to spread some positivity and just like some positive vibes,
Yeah.
or pushing it for my brand, um, and you know, like again, I wouldn't be able to have this podcast episode show had it not
Hmm.
been for for media in general.
Yeah.
So like I said, I do think of it as a tool, and
Yeah.
just like any tool, you can overuse it and abuse it.
Hmm.
But I think that I do a pretty good job of like balancing it. And even with social media, even though I am on social media a lot, like I will like openly admit this. Like how the iPhones like they tell you your fucking screen time.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know because I know my fucking screen time would be a lot. But I
Yeah.
will say this: at least within that screen time, like my diet is very good, and I mean
Hmm.
like I'm not watching all the fucking thotties on there. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not watching these guys that have a bunch of money. I don't follow like celebrities really, to see
Yeah.
what fucking kind of house they're in or what they're doing. I don't keep up with the Kardashians. Like the
Yeah.
stuff that I'm looking for on there is like I follow a shitload of DJs. I follow like DJ
Yeah.
websites. I follow my peoples,
Yeah.
anybody who's on this like same wavelength as me with like just being positive and promoting like self-aware assessment stuff like that, like
Yeah.
anything in that realm, like cool, I'm all for that, and I'm like constantly like trying to consume it,
Yeah.
which is good. But then like I said, at some point you can consume all that, but then when it really comes down to it, it's like you got to act on your shit too. So
Yeah.
as much as you receive, like it's also
Mhm.
important to act on your shit.
Yeah. And then on my end, I basically blocked a lot of that stuff out. Yeah, this job had me just focused on that and my finances.
Hmm.
Basically learning how to invest in the market and make yeah, how can I pay off my debt
Yeah.
and how can I, build better credit,
Hmm.
which is dope too, man, because that's why I take this pandemic as a blessing too, in a way too. It's kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, it's a silver lining.
Um,
There's a silver lining for sure.
yeah, dude. So I'm ready to kind of hit the ground running because I know that there's potential more money to come in. I know as far as like the books right now, there's about 45 in the books. So I'm excited to just
Oh yeah, yeah,
get those events going
yeah,
and be able to incorporate social media, create more content, you know, develop better videos for that side of it because when you focus on your brand, um, people look at that too. I haven't really concentrated on it. I've neglected it too, but I think I gotten comfortable with just getting referral gigs, dude. It's been more than
hmm,
enough to to to, to make my tummy full, you know. But
yeah, for sure, for sure.
the I think the most important thing out of all of this was like, how am I gonna position myself to not fall back down like this again?
Hmm.
And yeah, the social media aspect of it is definitely a part of it too, And
So wait,
I
with
know
that
this.
with that with that question you just posed,
Mhm.
do you have any type of solutions or things that you are now aware of, maybe like that will help you prevent you falling down like this in the future?
Oh, for sure, man. Well, number one, take care of your debt. That's just number one. Always take care of your debt. Don't fall into a trap of using your credit cards. Try to pay everything off as fast as possible. Be debt free. That's number one. Number two is being able to save your money. Obviously, uh, what comes with saving is also investing your money.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, the idea came from also one of my buddies, which is my mentor. Also, you got to find a way to bring money in, and then what do you do with that money?
Right.
How are you gonna invest that money?
Right.
So I found a way to bring money in, and it's there. So for me, it's obviously paying off the debt and then saving the money. And I can either option A, reinvest the money into my business, whether it be focusing on the brand and creating advertisement, hitting up my past clients, getting reviews.
Right.
Um, Also, do more of the social media trends, like even jump on like if someone I see a lot of people posting like little snippets where they just do a quick transition, or they cut up a sample and then play the original, little things like that to kind of just showcase that you do know what you're doing.
I want to
um
don't
Go
lose
ahead.
your train of thought. Do
Yeah.
want to put a little pause in there and talk
Yeah.
about um now that you kind of have a little bit more understanding of money, and this is the same thing on my
Yeah.
behalf too. Um I think about my purchases a little bit differently, and
Yeah.
I do when I do sorry. When I do reflect back on my purchases, I think up to myself like, what an idiot! Like, why did you do it like that? And so,
Hmm.
and like the example that I kind of want to do is, you know, when you're purchasing gear, this gear is gear that should make you money back, and I think that there's smarter purchases in the beginning than other purchases. So, for
Right.
example, you know, I mean, it's like now that we know this, I kind of wish
Hmm.
that there was like a straight up kind of you should do this, so
Yeah.
that someone could kind of benefit from that. So, for
Right.
example,
Okay.
dude, like, I mean, the first thing you get is your gear, right? Like whatever you're gonna
Yeah.
play on,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
whether it's a controller or whatever, then
Yeah.
you get your speakers because you need like quality good speakers, right?
Right.
And then I think probably one of the well, I mean, I guess then it's like your microphone, um,
Hmm.
but like I was trying to think of things that will bring you back money like fast immediately, so
Yeah.
prime example
Hmm.
is uplights. Like uplights are kind of pricey, but
Right.
but if you do that early on,
Hmm.
uplights can make you money back pretty quickly because they're like a hot thing. They're a
Yeah.
hot item that
Hmm.
is commonly asked
Every
for at gigs, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just weddings; it's like all types of gigs. Especially if you have a room where basically like you can create the canvas yourself.
Yeah.
So you're basically putting the color in the entire room. You're creating that atmosphere, and with something like uplighting, I highly recommend anybody to have. Obviously, it might break the bank a little bit if you decide to go with the higher end models. But
Right.
I don't knock them though, because I do have a brand right now. It's a China brand. I believe they're from China. I could be wrong, but the company's called JMaz, and I think the technology that I have from them, the uplights, I think it's battery operated and it's wireless DMX.
Mm-hmm.
So no cables, absolutely no cables.
Right.
Because I also think um, one thing that we don't take into consideration is when you're making your money, like how easy it is to set up too. We need to think of convenience too,
Mm.
because you can buy some uplights that connect to a wall, and you're basically gonna have to daisy chain them if they have accessibility to daisy chain,
Mm-hmm.
electricity wise,
Right.
or you're gonna have to plug it into a wall, which is also a nuisance too, man,
Right.
because
You need
you
an
might have to
outlet per
take
light.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to have lights like that too, man, but something that, that should be take me 15, 20 minutes was taking me an hour to do, and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't charging um the ratio that I was charging
Right.
didn't make sense
Right.
for
Right.
the amount of work that I was putting
Right.
in.
For sure.
But yeah, it's definitely a good investment, but kind of breaking it down for someone that is just starting off, and like say obviously you said you need good speakers. um that's very important.
Mm.
Don't go cheap on the speakers, because eventually you're going to upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
um and you rather start off with something legit, because when you charge someone, people pay attention to that shit. They pay attention if your speaker sounds shitty. Even if like you're just starting out, and I know we all start out in different positions, but I'd rather you have a legit ass sound system than to have turntables right away. Maybe start off with a controller, you know?
Mm.
Do
Mm.
a controller, and then maybe get like a legit sound system. Because bro, from my experience,
Yeah, and
and
that's
the more
that. You know,
events.
that's a good. You know what? That's good. That's good information. See, I didn't even think about stuff like that too.
Mhm. Yeah, because I mean, because like you said, you're trying to make money, and the more money you make faster, the better shit you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, if you had to pick between one or the other, I would pick the controller. It might not be like your ideal dream controller or turntables, but if your sound sounds legit
Right.
and your
Right.
skills are polished, you'll be able to start charging more between your events, and you'll develop more experience at the same time. You're basically expediting that process too, because if you have dope ass turntables, like what I did is I bought turntables first and
Mm-hmm.
the sound system after. Um, you know, and like I told you, that first wedding that I did, how trash it was.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, if we start with that, yeah. But if you're looking to add money, doing events and upselling at events, man, there's uplighting, there's
Like, bro,
uh,
I fucking brought. I bought a blue laser. I still have it. I have a
yeah,
fucking blue laser that was
yeah,
like, dude, it was probably like $800 at the time,
yeah.
and I never
And
ever used that fucking laser. But
I was
like,
just gonna
but
ask.
I was the only motherfucker on the block with a
That,
blue laser. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, that
but that's
motherfucker was
some.
not green and red.
Yeah, exactly. But that's something
Yeah,
that, like, I reflect on. I'm like, man, if I would have put that money towards uplights, like, I
yeah,
would have, that would have been the smarter move. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I often do kind of like I said, now that, like, we got in that discussion about money,
Hmm.
I try to think about stuff like that too, where, what would have been the smarter play.
Yeah, and with uplights, man, especially if you decide to invest some good money, I would say on average, normally when I do events, it's anywhere between like 25, sometimes 30 uplights, and then I have bigger events where,
You use that many
we,
uplights? You have
yeah,
that many?
bro,
You
it's
have that many?
dude, I have 40 uplights. Yeah,
They're
I have
all
40.
wireless, chargeable ones?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
know that.
man.
No wonder you was in debt, motherfucker. I know that's
Yeah,
expensive,
dude.
dog. I know that shit's
Yeah, bro.
expensive.
Hey, ask me if it's paid off though.
Is it paid off?
Damn, son. Yeah, it's paid off. And
That's
then
right.
so everything that I make now is basically going to my wallet now,
Yeah.
man. Obviously, and Uncle Sam too. I gotta
Well,
pay
I was
Uncle
say,
Sam,
hey,
but
you better watch what you say, dog. They listening.
yeah.
The Alexa behind you listening or something. Siri's
Yeah,
like, you
dude.
hear that? You hear that? Fucking, he got money. They're notifying the
Yeah.
government right now.
Yeah, so dude, right now, like and that's another thing too, man, that this pandemic has also kind of put myself in a different perspective where right now technically I'm a gig worker, so my taxes are a little bit higher than the person that can have their brand, which I do. I pay taxes under my business name, but
Mm,
if you develop like an LLC,
right.
you can pay yourself out and pay the taxes from that instead of paying the entire amount that you're making the entire year. If that makes any
So you
sense.
have an
Uh,
LLC.
no, I don't. So
Oh,
that's the next thing one of the things that I've learned that it's gonna get rolling this year.
you
The
know.
only reason that
Oh,
it
go ahead.
hasn't, go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
No, oh, yeah, the only reason that it hasn't is because I still have this job.
Yeah.
Um, like I told you when we were out in Miami, it was the day that I got there. Well, not the day that I got there, but maybe one day prior, I put in my 2 weeks
Mm.
because I saw that things were kind of opening up again. And yeah, dude, I'd rather just focus my time on this stuff because, like I told you, I missed it, and I see the potential of how I can make more money, and
Right.
at the same time, like it's just a plus that I love doing it too.
Right. Yeah. I
Um,
know because you were telling
if
me
you,
about how like miserable you were at that job, pretty much.
yeah, dude, waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturdays, usually around 8 hour shifts, sometimes overtime. You're
bro,
tired all the time,
bro, you
dude.
didn't like that job? Come on, bro.
Nah. Who would, bro, when you're
Yeah.
going back to like, what you're doing. And then not to mention, like it feels good being your own boss. There's
Yeah.
nothing that I love more than that feeling of being your own boss. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do when you want to do it. And that feeling, I wish everybody would get a taste of that,
Yeah.
and the ones that are just starting off and they're doing it right now, like, dude, strive towards that feeling.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to be a DJ to do it. There's so many doors that can be open in this industry. And for example, just even in the wedding industry, you know what door was open to me maybe a little bit before the pandemic? LD, lighting development, dude. Basically creating light shows. I'm so interested in seeing where that takes me. I can basically branch that out and start doing bigger shit. Or, like I see people that tour with lighting developers too. So basically, an artist has an LD that does their light show for them while they perform live.
Right.
They're behind the scenes.
Right.
But basically, there's opportunities all over the place. And it's just basically putting yourself out there and not being afraid to take that jump
Yeah.
or to learn. Because we have that technology for free right now. Everything that I've learned for the most part has been via YouTube or the internet
Right.
or just by asking my friends.
Yeah, it definitely is like that information age, for sure. And
Yeah.
kind of like the I do want to tie back into the whole, talking about business stuff because those questions are the
Hmm.
questions that I have been, I think we talked about a little bit, but those are the
Yeah.
questions that I have been asking a lot about recently and that's the stuff that I've really been fucking diving into because I think, and I don't know all, what the fuck
Yeah.
DJs are doing, but I feel like
Hmm.
I don't think that, and maybe this is me being negative about it, but I don't think that DJs are like handling their finances, in a proper
Right.
etiquette. And
Yeah.
and I honestly only say that just because that was my reality,
Right.
and more often than not, the people that I talk to, like, they're all in my like very similar reality, so chances are it's like that. Like I think that the thing that you said, it's a I think that's a reality for a lot of people where
Hmm.
they're getting their money, they're paying their bills at the first of the month, and then like all their other money is just
Hmm.
like fucking play money. Like
Yeah. Drinks, drinks,
let's fucking
drinks.
go hard,
Party.
yeah.
Fucking
And,
weekend warriors, bro. They live for the weekend. They work during the week and
and so that's
spend it
that's
on the weekend.
that's why I've been really making it a point this year to learn more and to be
Hmm.
better with my money.
Yeah,
Like I
man.
am I am successful. I'm very successful in like what I do, but for the talent that I have and you know the time that I've been doing it, I should
Hmm.
have a lot more. I should have a lot more like financially, I should say. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not broke or nothing. It's just if
Hmm.
I would have been handling my shit, like I
Yeah.
should have a lot more money
Yeah, for
in
sure, man.
accordance
Me
to
too.
that. Me doing it over 9 years. You know?
Yeah. But see that honestly, bro, that's the whole thing with all of this is that we're kind of learning as we go.
Yeah,
There's really no true mentor out there unless like you just have someone in your circle
yeah,
and is willing to give you this information
right,
because in this industry there's a lot of people that were not willing to give you this information too.
Right.
You know, now that we see platforms like podcasts, we see that stuff like this is being shared
Right.
out in the open now,
Right.
but we didn't have that back
Right.
then.
Right.
It
Right.
was just more of
A
a
book, bro, and
more
I don't read fucking books.
yeah, who's gonna read a book about, like DJing and shit, it's like it's like one of those
At
how-to books.
1920 and shit. Yeah, bro. Age
Yeah.
1920. But
Yeah, dude, and
you're right. You're right, and I was gonna say too, just the fact that um that's also all the more why like I like just talking about it, because I don't take anything away from myself. Like, hey, bro, you fucking should have been doing this a long time ago. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I know, yes, I should have, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna like hold anything against myself, but I do
yeah,
like to flesh out the ideas now, because hopefully, if you're listening or you're watching, like, I hope that this fucking like raises a red flag in your head. Like, hey, here's these guys. I'm 30. You're 32.
hmm
They're maybe they're older than me. Maybe they're younger than whatever. But if
yeah,
these guys are talking about this, then
hmm
it might be something that I myself should get acquainted with, so that, you know, um, I can just benefit from it all the more, like, early on, rather than waiting till you're 30 or whatever.
it's always good to have some kind of a game plan. Even though I'm a hypocrite. I didn't live my life like that, and especially when I started making money in the DJing industry, it was always day by day.
Yeah.
Um, but I think I also just kind of did it because I felt rebellious, bro. Because everybody thought that what I was doing was not a real job, you
Yeah.
know? And so basically it was kind of like saying, fuck you, like, I'm gonna look, this is how much I'm making, and then I'm gonna go do this bullshit over here just to kind of like
I'm gonna show you how
rub
real
it
it
in
is, motherfucker.
your dude.
Cause that must mean I really ain't DJing on Saturday, and I really ain't going to the beach and fucking renting a hotel on Sunday either. That's not really
Yeah, man.
happening.
Yeah. Yeah, so dude, I remember for me, like, the first moment where I decided I really wanted to push myself to see where this takes me was basically I had a relative um that when we were at a family gathering, he was asking us all, like, so what do you guys plan to do for the rest of your lives? And I
Right.
had at the time my cousin, he wanted to be a rapper, and he's actually pretty decent. He's a good rapper. He's branched out into the music production aspect of it, and at the time, while I was DJing and making maybe like 300, 400, 500 bucks a gig,
Mm.
even weddings at the time, which isn't what I make now, but at the time it was a lot of money for me,
Yes. Yeah.
and he basically just said, how did he say it? Basically just saying what I do is just a hobby, and but not so nice about it,
Yeah.
and like, what else are you going to do though? What
Yeah.
else are you going to do?
Yeah.
And I go, well, what if this is the only thing that I want to do? What about it then? Like, I felt really, like, caught off guard, because it's
Yeah.
like a family member, and this wasn't the first time. I think I remember I had another time where someone just basically said the same thing, and it's just me being, okay, if that's what you think, I'm gonna fucking keep doing it, and prove you wrong that I can still, It was kind of like it lit my fire to kind of just keep doing it, and then the more I did it, the better I got at it. And then at the same time, not just the DJing aspect of it, because I'm not the greatest DJ, but it's that the DJing, the emceeing, the production, how I talk to people, just that energy,
Right.
all of it
Right.
combined, uh, up my value.
Yeah.
And
And it's
the
funny
more,
about that too, that like the whole, pretty much having those doubters early on, telling you that you
yeah,
can't do it. It for those listening, like, that's always going to be a scenario. There's always going to be people
yeah,
that don't think you can do what you're either currently doing or in attempt to about to do.
hmm
And like, and I'll give a dude a dead ass example. Like, no lie, bro. Fucking like a month or so ago, I went to
hmm
my parents' house. I love my parents. My parents have always been supportive of me
Yeah.
to some extent, because I know that there's a
Yeah.
little bit, you know.
Hmm.
So, prime example, I went to my parents. Um, they asked me if I wanted to go to Costco with them. I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll go. So I'm sitting in the back seat. We're driving to Costco, and then like this out of nowhere, I hear my dad go, "Hey, Walter. So are you ready to come back here?" And I'm like looking around, like, what the fuck is this fool talking about? And he's like, yeah, like, your room's ready for you. You could come back. And
Yeah.
as if I haven't been living on my own for like 5 years,
Right.
and he like legit, pretty much asked me like, are you ready to are you gonna get a real job? Are you ready to get a real job?
Yeah.
And
Damn.
like and like I said, like it does sound hard, but because of the dynamic between me and my parents, like it wasn't really
Hmm.
that serious.
Yeah.
And I even like my mom. So my dad's driving, my mom's sitting right there, and
Hmm.
I look at my mom, like, Mom, like, you're not gonna say anything, and she's like, well, um, your father and I are just worried about you. You know, I like, they're like, I don't even think you don't even have health insurance, do you? And I'm just like, what the fuck is this, man? Like, you guys are putting me on trial and shit.
Yeah.
And like I eventually, I mean, so just to let people know, like, I've been doing this for 9 years, and my parents are
Hmm.
still on that mentality, y'all. So
Yeah.
that might not ever go away, that doubt from certain people. But what, at the end of the day, what your reality is, and so, like I said, I know that I've been living on my own for 5 years already now. I've been paying my own fucking
Hmm.
rent, paying my car
Yeah.
note. I've been handling my shit. And
Yeah.
like I said, some people might not see that, or it might just take longer for that to get pounded in your head. But,
Hmm.
I just wanted to let some people know that, because,
Yeah.
I think if you're early on, those doubts can get to you. And this right now is just some reinforcement, like, hey, that's always going to be there. But, live your truth.
Yeah. And then it's, I know this is just like on some motivational shit, but um, the
And that's
easy
good. I'm all
shit.
for that. I'm
Yeah.
all for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Me too, man. The easy shit. Everybody can do it. It's the stuff that takes actual time and skill and practice and repetitiveness that once
Yeah.
you actually get past that hump of like, am I able to make a living off of this? Um, and then you realize, like, you see a clear picture after you start making decent amount of money and doing it. You just basically have to build relationships,
Mm-hmm.
keep practicing. Don't ever burn any bridges, because you just never know, man. You
Mm-hmm.
never know, like, maybe one day along the line, bro, like, I see you blowing up and you might give me an opportunity, or like someone that knows you, like, and they're just coming up, bro, and just because you were nice to, they were nice to you, bro, you remember them, and you might give them an opportunity. You just don't know. Just,
Dude,
don't be an asshole.
dude, today I had one of my Twitch followers. He hit me up, like, DM me. He's like, hey, bro, like, and that's actually kind of in part why I was late to the show, because he called me like
Yeah.
right after I finished. He's
Mhm.
like, hey, like, do you have a minute to talk? And I'm like, yeah, what's good, man? What's going on?
Mhm.
And pretty much, he called me to, first of all, to say that he was a fan. He's like, bro, like, you fucking rock, like, you're the shit, blah blah.
That's
and
cool.
and he's like, um I don't, he's like, don't call me stupid, but I don't know what, like, the bits and the subs and all that stuff is. And I don't want you to think that I'm a cheap ass, because I've been watching your show for a while, bro. But
Yeah.
I haven't, I haven't gave you any money, and I feel bad. And I was
Mhm.
like, nah, bro, like, it's all good. And he's like, but I called, in part to understand how that works. And then,
Mhm.
he actually kind of gave me some advice, because he kind of, I had been slowly kind of figuring things out, but he like kind of gave it
Yeah.
to me straight. He's like, dude, I'm about to push 50, and all this biddy stuff, like, I don't know it. And um
Mhm.
he's like, I noticed that you streamed on Sunday, and you had a lot of people in there, but I noticed that there wasn't a lot of, like, like, it didn't seem like there was a lot of money going, because I know that you're always calling that stuff out. It didn't seem like a
Yeah.
lot of that was going on.
Mhm.
And pretty much pretty much told me like some free advice where he's like I said, dude, people my age, they probably don't know how to do that. You know, they probably don't know
Yeah,
what's going on there. So, you know, that
for
might just
sure.
give you something to think about. Like he's like
Yeah,
he even used one of my homies as an example. So, you know, Hex, he's like
yeah,
the homie Hex, he's like Hex has his like Zelle or his like Venmo, and he's like, I know how to use that stuff.
yeah.
So, you know, I've
Mm,
sent him money like that, but you don't have your stuff like front and center. And
yeah,
so you know, it's like free game,
that's
but
good
it's one of the
advice. Yeah,
exactly. Um, and he's like, you know, I'm not telling you how to run your show, blah blah. And I'm like, nah, man, like I'm cool, like I'm all for receiving and
yeah,
you know, and I told him kind of like how if he wanted to get on Twitch, like how he could do it, and he told me like what time he's on, but you know, tying it all
mm,
back in is just one of those things like just be nice to people and you never
yeah,
know, you really never know who you could be helping, who's listening,
yeah,
who could be fucking um you know, vouching for you somewhere. Like someone might be
mm,
like talking bad about me and that guy's there and he's like, dude, nah, Wally's a fucking shit, bro. Like he's
yeah,
cool, you know, like not
yeah.
only is he a good DJ, but he's a nice guy. Like he put me on game, blah blah blah, you know. So you just never
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, definitely, man. And then uh, I'm a strong believer of like the vibe that you put out and is the vibe that you will receive
Yeah.
too. So, if you just are all about good energy all the time,
Yeah.
then yeah, man, people feed off of that, dude. And dude, when you're performing, bro, like it just trust me, if you're in a good mood while you're performing, you're not only are you going to be in a good mood, but that will be interpreted into what you're
For
playing too,
sure.
man. And people feel off that shit
They
too,
do.
man.
They do. They do.
And like for me, the where I get it, you know, is like I know when an event's gonna be dope right before we do like a grand entrance or something. If
Right.
I can get like if I can get them excited and I see how fast they get excited, um, and depending on how much effort I put into it too, because it's all just like a polarity thing, man. Like you give a little bit and then they return the feedback to you and you see, okay, so they're gonna have fun tonight. And I base it off of that, dude. If I can get good energy in the beginning, then I know it's gonna be smooth sailing. And if I can't get the energy in the beginning, I might have to work my way there, you know.
Right.
Um, but that all just comes with experience and being honestly being thrown out to the wolves almost in essence is just practice in front of people whenever you can. You don't expect to get paid a shit ton of money in the beginning because
Yep.
that all just comes with time. You know,
Yep.
like you might think your worth is you know, more than what it actually is. And I don't know what rates people charge and
Right.
whatnot as far as like, you know, like the club industry, but you know, as far as the wedding stuff, you know, there's people that do it for the cheap, you know, like for 200, 300, $400, even 500 what I was getting paid. But see, I was getting paid that to represent someone else, you know? So they
Yeah.
were making more money than that.
Yeah.
And that also kind of showed me like a different perspective of like, oh, how is he getting paid that much money? Why? What is he doing? And I basically learned from that too, you know, just being around different people and being in that environment and taking the stuff that I love that they're doing and even the shit that they don't that they do that I don't love, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've worked with several different people, and it was like that every time. You know, I took the shit that I loved from them, and then there's stuff that you know I was just like, maybe I won't do that shit.
Right. Right.
You know,
You pick and choose.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, dude. For instance, like there's guys out there that still do like that teach line dancing. You know, while they're doing the wedding. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's not something that I want to do or put into what I do. You know,
Right. Right.
it's just not what
It's
it's
just
not my
not you. Yeah, it's
clientele.
not you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my clientele. Um, but dude, it's just crazy how I told you, you know, I wouldn't picture myself being in this position where I'm at now, where I have a potential to make money off of people's wedding celebrations and be a part of their moment, you know, which is a dope thing too.
What are
It's a
Go ahead.
go
No,
ahead.
no, you can finish. You can finish
No,
that.
No, you go ahead, bro.
It's just a
You're the moderator.
I just have a question after what
Yeah,
you're gonna. You can finish your statement though.
I finished.
Okay, so
Yeah.
my question is, what are some like maybe some things that you wish you knew early on for weddings, or what are some gems if you could give somebody some gems like, hey man,
Oh yeah, for sure.
like whether it's like gems towards booking or gems towards preparation or gems on
Yeah.
the day of, like what are some things that like some little nuggets you could give out.
Well, number one, bro. Um, and this is gonna be like the most simplest, but that's also the hardest thing, I think, in my opinion, is building that referral base on your bookings. That's the easiest way to get bookings is your referrals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but how you get there? Um, I would say like if you're just starting off, get familiar with what are some formalities in a wedding. You know, what are what is uh, some basic structure that you can have that is normally presented at a wedding. You know, like what is a grand entrance? What is normally played during a grand entrance? What does a DJ normally say during that time? Um, Also, you know, what other formalities are in there and what is being played during that time? What kind of vibe does the client want during certain portions? For instance, for cocktail hour, dinner, you know, like a lot of people don't know what to play during that time. Also, what also makes you better is having no ego. You know, it's not about you.
Right.
It's about the client.
It's their day. It's their day for
It's
sure.
it's their day. You know, you got to make sure that you make them happy that day.
Right.
Um, emceeing is important, just as important as DJing. I would say they go one in one with one another. You know, um, not being afraid to talk on the microphone. You know,
Right.
if you're afraid, you got to face that fear first. You know, the way I faced it was just basically getting thrown out there and doing it, bro. I remember when I was working with my buddy, yeah, he would tell me to just get on the mic and say shit, dude, and I would be like, nah, dude, like I'm nervous, you
Yo,
know,
yo,
I'm
what's up,
scared.
bitches? How y'all doing? Well, my single ladies at? They're like,
Yeah,
hey,
dude.
fucking, that's not the
And
vibe,
then
bro.
well, another thing too is like, you know, if you want to make money in this industry, one way that will kind of expedite it is like the add-on features. You know, for instance, if you do uplighting, even a photo booth, upping your production value to just make your sound system, you know, the whole presentation just look better. You know, that's where I'm at right now. Actually, I just bought some new speakers. I bought the Evox J Mix 8 and the J8. I bought them in a white color, and I can already see potential returns from that too, just by asking my clients and stuff. Like so far, since I bought them, 4 for 4 on the clients choosing that presentation instead of like the old black setup or just the white setup. And um, in the near future, I just bought a new facade too, or I'm sorry, not a facade, a DJ booth that basically is gonna work as where my controller is gonna go at. It's white. I'm gonna hook up LED lights to the bottom of it so it can project lighting on the bottom. I'll show you pictures later on in the future.
Yeah.
But dude, the more formal it
About to
looks,
say, sound
the
like you got a fucking transformer, bro.
yeah, bro. It's honestly a lot of stuff, dude. But it pays off, man. Learning how to use all this equipment, being able to market yourself. So the faster you're able to get this shit down, the faster you'll be able to market yourself. And the faster you're able to market yourself, the more people are going to see your shit. And the more people are going to see your shit, they're going to see that you do weddings and other types of events. And you'll be able to expedite how fast you get paid, you know, by doing stuff like that. But it obviously it takes time. You're not gonna you're gonna have to save money, find ways to save money.
Well,
And it's be
also with that comes that whole notion of like, yeah, I mean, in the beginning, you can't just get your gear and then be like, I'm gonna be a full time DJ. Like you do on the regular, you do have to get like another job, another source of income that will help you fund your dream, and then once that dream is funded, then you can live off that dream.
Yeah,
But
dude, and
that's the initial growing pains. That's exactly what you were talking
yeah,
about as far as like, doing the whole guitar thing. Like it was a
yeah.
dream at the time, but
Mhm.
it eventually
It,
ended up funding your stuff.
yeah, dude, and you can basically take that, in essence, take all that, and you can apply that to anything, you know? So whatever job you have that you hate right now
Yeah.
can fund your dream,
Yeah. That's
you
why I
know?
just
So
labeled it simply as a dream for sure,
yeah.
cuz
Yeah, for sure, man.
whatever that is.
And even right now, this might not even be like my full dream, but there's so many doors that are opening
Right.
that I'm just going through all of them, dude, and I'm not afraid to go through all of them. I'm not afraid to learn. And that's just what's so cool about all of this is just I didn't realize that these opportunities would be presented to me just because because I walked into a club called Heist back in the day, and I saw kids shuffling, and I saw some dope DJs playing some electro house and like indie music, that was life changing. I didn't think about it like that at the time, but I'm
Right.
like, dude, I wish I can kind of go back and kind of just take it all in again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, or even dude, I find myself during right now during times like this, I'll jam out to that kind of stuff. I'll session and I'll play that kind of music, or just anything that I like, which is the dope thing of also having this as a hobby.
Yeah.
You're basically the record player, the DJ, the everything. You're the vibe creator, and dude, when I'm obviously by myself, like that's the dope thing is being able to get people to dance to your vibe, whatever you want to play. But obviously in the industry I work with, you have to kind of be a little bit more flexible, and you have to be a little bit more selective on those moments.
For
Like I
sure.
said, no ego. Yeah.
Real quick too. I want to
Mm-hmm.
let the chat know. So just out of curiosity, because I usually
Mm-hmm.
just leave it super closed.
Yeah.
We got 7 people in the chat right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is there anybody who has any questions or anything that they'd like to say, just out of curiosity? So typically, the reason I have it closed is because
Yeah.
I know that if people are just like running that chat, then I'm gonna be reading it and I won't be listening to you. So I like to give you my
Right.
full attention, and then vice versa. And
Cool.
then like, just out of curiosity, I was seeing if anybody wanted to say anything. Um, I don't see anything quite yet though. So maybe they're just listening. A lot of times, people are
Right.
like doing other things while they're
Right.
listening. So
Yeah.
it's all good if the chat's just listening. Then that's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was gonna say something. Oh, so I mean, I think that's was there anything that in particular that you want to talk about? Because sometimes people come on here with like some
Yeah.
agendas. Was there anything in particular that you wanted to say before we like pretty much getting ready to
Yeah.
wrap it up?
Okay. Dude, I mean, nothing really. Really, when are you playing again? I saw that you were at Green Room the other day.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually at the Well, it's the combination of the whole thing, but they had the whole like green room and
Right.
fucking Fox Theater going.
Yeah.
I played up top.
Yeah.
Um, I did a reggaeton set. Oh,
That's dope.
oh yeah. So they got some. There's some comments. I'm gonna talk about them real quick after this.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
so uh, yeah, they had me playing up top, and they kind of just have like a dinner vibe going. So there's like tables,
Right.
and they have food and
Okay.
alcohol going. Um, I played a 3.5 hour reggaeton set, which was like,
Oh shit.
dude, that was a long time for me, bro. I was like really kind of
Yeah.
like testing my crates on that shit. I was like, damn, can I do this shit? But I
Yeah.
handled that shit. I really did like,
That's cool,
and I
man.
did it, and I did it without like going super hard. Like there were some songs that I didn't play
Right.
because it was,
Hmm.
I knew the vibe.
Yeah,
Um,
it's way more relaxed.
yeah,
You know.
at that
Yeah.
moment, I don't know if
Yeah.
it goes because the bartender was saying that it went off like last weekend, but this past
Okay.
weekend it was whatever. How
Yeah.
it's very beautiful. Like the setup that they
Yeah.
have a bunch of like, or like Day of the Dead type of artwork up.
Right.
So that shit was cool. And then,
That's cool, man.
I'll actually be at funny that you asked. I don't know. You're probably working now, but
Yeah.
this Saturday I'll be at
Mm.
Leo's Corner in like Montclair
Oh,
Upland.
in Upland.
Yeah,
Upland.
Upland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah,
working?
I'm actually DJing where you DJ'd at last week. Well,
Oh.
I'm doing the Fox Theater with Digits.
Oh, okay. What time
Yeah.
are you done?
I don't know, dude. We usually just kind of go with the flow.
Just dip out on that food, bro, and tell me you're gonna go visit me, dog. Come celebrate with me,
real
dog.
quick. Yeah,
For real,
real
that
quick.
food. I'm telling you, do the early set, bro. Do the fucking early
Yeah.
set, and then he'll be fine. He's a grown man. He's a
Dang, he is a grown man.
no, but yeah, I'm doing that set at Leo's. So this will be interesting. I mean, I seen that John B was over there last weekend, and that shit
Yeah,
looked fucking
yeah.
pretty busy. You know?
I'm telling you, bro, we're almost there, dude. I
Yeah,
see the light under the
yeah, I
tunnel,
do
man.
too.
Feels
I
good.
really do too. That's
Yeah, man.
exactly like what the fucking comment on my photo was from the photo from green room. Like I put that
Yeah,
because I know it's not there yet, not quite, but
yeah.
it's definitely on the way. All right, let me see what this comment says.
Mhm.
So,
All right.
my friend Jacob says earlier he was saying under LC he can pay himself out. Is that with a W-2 or 1099 as a solo contractor? He's asking. Do you know?
Well, basically, I'm not a financial advisor, but from what I've gotten from bro, yeah, I'm just like everyone else. I'm just kind of learning this shit as
Yeah,
I
yeah.
go.
No, I don't think he thinks that you are, but
Yeah,
any
yeah, yeah.
insight you want
No,
to share?
yeah. Well, basically, running the way I get paid out usually from some other people. I get the W-2. If not, since I am a small business owner, I get taxed off the top. So basically, whatever I report, it's 15% off the top.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if you're running an LLC, you can pay yourself out whatever. So that whole sum, say for example, it's 60K. You can say that 60K, you break that up into whatever your expenses are,
yeah.
and then and and not only your expenses, you can pay yourself out as an employee. So instead of it being a total of 60K that you have to pay taxes for, say you only report 20K, and that's what I don't know what the initial amount is for what you pay taxes in, but I'm assuming it is whatever an employer pays you.
You
You
know
know,
what?
so
Oh, go
mhm.
ahead. Oh,
No, you go
so
ahead.
you know what?
Well,
And you know what? I think it's a combination of what you know plus what I know. So,
yeah.
and I've just been learning about that too. And I just started. So for any of those who are looking into more financial literacy, I will say this: I just read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I'm now working on like another follow up book from that same author, and it's
Yeah. Robert Kiyosaki, right? Or
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
and another book that he recommends is like kind of starting your own LLC. So that's kind of
Yeah.
what I'm like researching right now
Mhm.
currently.
Mhm.
But with what you're saying, I get that because if you claim sole proprietor, um, they pretty much, and when you file your taxes, I know because I just fucking did my taxes. So when you
Yeah.
claim sole proprietor, that's all money it just goes into whatever your earnings were. So if you made, let's just say you made 40K,
Mhm.
for the year with just your regular job, quote unquote,
Mhm.
a regular job. And then you made additional like 10 grand, with DJing, let's just say that whole
Mhm.
10 grand. Yeah. It's gonna get lumped together, so it's gonna look like you made 50 grand, and then they're just
Mhm.
gonna fucking tax you on the whole sum of it. So that's what you're talking about. And the
Mhm.
reason that is important is because when you do when you file like sole proprietor, you can't. And of course, like, this is what we understand, y'all. So,
Yeah.
you definitely want to fact check things, but from what I understand, you can't like itemize out shit when you do it as a sole proprietor, because it's all kind of just under one big thing, and you I don't think you can. It's a different filing, like area or whatever you want to call it. So that's why with the LLC, you can do like, okay, so as an employee, uh he was paid 30 grand, let's say 20
Yeah.
grand of it was, expenses and write-offs or whatever, and then
Yeah.
whatever the other stuff is, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know it all ins and outs yet. I'm still learning, but I know that is definitely a lot of like how it goes.
And there's perks to it too, man. for instance, it's a lot easier to write off a car, bro. This is how rich people write off their shit, dude.
Yes, yes.
For instance, you can get a lease on a car and say it's for work, strictly for work, and write that whole thing off, no
Yeah,
questions asked.
yeah.
And because you're writing it, you're basically getting the lease under the business name, not your own name, a sole proprietor.
Yeah, so
So,
so with that too,
mhm,
I remember like, I had a bunch of things itemized out where I was like, oh, I pay this much for Spotify, I pay this much for my record pools, I pay all
mhm,
this shit, but they wouldn't, like I said, I couldn't file that under like sole proprietorship. I'd have to do it as like a side type of thing.
yeah,
Um so wait, so another comment here is saying, um yeah, so with the LLC, you're employing yourself, and then the business is getting taxed for payroll tax instead of you getting taxed on everything as a
yeah,
whole as an independent contractor. So yeah, that's what we said.
yeah.
Shelly's saying, yeah, it's best to lease under corporation or LLC.
Cool.
Lala's
Feels
agreeing. Shelly's agreeing.
Hey, feels good to know somewhat
So no, little some,
a
y'all.
little
Hey, shout
something.
out, you know
Yeah,
what, and shout
yeah.
out to the people in here.
Hmm.
Lala and Shelly, they're not DJs at all, but they're
Cool.
definitely a part of the Twitch fam, and
Yeah,
it's cool that they're even in here just listening to us.
that's dope. That's
Yeah,
dope, man. Yeah, like I said, you can take all of this stuff and just apply it to your journey.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, man. And dude, I think this is a kind of cool way to kind of end it. How was that rooftop pool we did with the tropical storm? Remember that?
Yeah, man, it was awesome, bro. Like that
That
shit was
was
fucking
crazy,
crazy.
right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fucking dope, and I got. Dude, I don't know if you know, the next day I fucking had a hangover and I was fucking yakking, bro. I was yakking. Poor
Did
Flowtron.
you?
Flowtron was taking care of me, bro.
Dude, I love
Yeah,
Flowtron,
I love
man.
Flowtron.
Yeah,
I think we
yeah,
all
dude.
love
That.
Flowtron. Like the whole chat's gonna be like Flowtron. Yeah,
Yeah, it was cool, man. I had so much fun. Hey, what'd you end up doing with the joint that we bought? We didn't even smoke it, did we?
hey, bro, that's not public record. Nah, I just like,
Oh, it's not. I was like,
I
dude,
just kidding.
well, no, come on, man. Like,
Nah,
little
it's
weed
live,
never
bro.
hurt
Fucking,
nobody.
we're out now, dog. The cat is out the
It's all
bag.
good.
Nah, just giving you
Yeah,
shit.
I
Well,
know.
no, dude, that I think I was telling Flowtron, I was like, I think in part that's what got me sick, dude. Yeah,
Ah,
cause
damn.
that shit was not weed, bro. That shit was tobacco with fucking syrup on it or some shit, bro. Like that shit got me sick.
Oh
I
man,
blame
I'm
that.
sorry.
I blame that. I mean, yeah, I drank a lot, but I blame
Yeah,
that fucking nasty ass thing.
I had a lot of fun, bro. It was a lot of fun, man. And that again, that's just another thing where like I I take all of everything that pre-pandemic, I take that stuff for granted, being able to have the liberty to do that stuff whenever you want. Now I'm gonna do it a little bit different,
Yeah.
obviously get the finances in order first, and then those vacations are gonna probably be more far in between, but at the same time, like it's not just gonna be I receive a payment and then vacation,
Yeah, but
it's
also
gonna
also like we were talking about, the importance of understanding that sometimes we don't want to spend money and we don't want to do all that, but if we have the money, it you can see how much it does for us, like how much it does for our soul, like to really like, and that was it's kind of funny that it happened that way because when I've traveled previously, it was very like leisurely, like, oh,
yeah,
let's go to Oregon because I want to see my family, or let's go to
right.
Arizona because I want to go party with my homies. Let's go to
Mm,
Mexico because I want to party. When I had originally planned to go to Miami, I legitimately wanted to go because of the music. I was like, I want to go because of music. I don't want to go like
right.
stress about partying. I don't want to fucking get super smashed every night. That's
Hmm.
not my goal. I want to go
Yeah,
and just like experience music out here in their way, in their form.
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, partying's gonna come along with it, but it wasn't like
Hmm.
I wasn't gonna stress it. Like, oh, I gotta fucking get smashed every night, or this is gonna
Yeah,
suck. Like I wanted to go
yeah,
because of music. So it's actually very fortunate of me to be able to go out there like for music, leisure, and profession. Like that's a
yeah,
fucking match made in heaven for
yeah, bro.
sure.
It's a blessing, bro. Uh, and if anybody else gets that opportunity, in whatever you do, like say if you're just even traveling for your own job, it doesn't necessarily have to be DJing. It's so cool. Like you're vacationing and at the same time you're making money.
Right.
Yeah, dude, and every time I try to go to these places too, and try to just take it all in, especially the music, bro. Everywhere I go, like I remember
Oh
I
yeah.
told you in the beginning of the podcast was I was very selective on what I would appreciate and like, and basically block out anything that I didn't like, and that would dictate how my night would go off of that, which is horrible. But yeah, man, just seeing even like that one spot we ended up at the end where it was like super touristy that night and we were just dancing, dude, and everyone was just having a good time. Like the DJ was just basically playing for the tourism there, and I had fun. I think I even heard Suavemente, bro, and we were on the dance floor,
Oh, I thought you were
you
talking
know?
about the first spot that we went to. That's why I was
Oh,
doing this.
dude,
That's why I
no.
was doing
Oh,
this.
with the drums, the dude. So that spot was cool too, man. Like the tech house, we went to
Yeah.
two spots that were playing like tech house the
Yep.
entire night, and
Yep.
and even that environment was like, dude, like I feel like I'm at home. Like just everybody's vibing out and having a good time, and
Like it felt like
not a
home,
care.
but it didn't. So that was the interesting
Hmm.
part, because
Hmm.
that tech house, for those of you, didn't get to experience that with us, the first spot we went to was this little tech house bar, small, but they had live drummer, like fucking, I don't know what kind of drums they were.
They were just on
I was
bongos or
I was gonna
something,
say
dude.
bongos. I was gonna say bongos, but I don't know enough
Yeah,
about drums to like. I don't want
yeah,
to knock any drummers, but
right,
you would know. You're definitely more in the musician
yeah.
realm. But
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, regardless, like they were just in there playing, and it was a cool. Like again, the music is something that you could get here, but
Hmm.
it wasn't in that way because when they were playing that stuff, it was like 11 o'clock. Like usually, I was
Yeah.
talking to you about that. Usually,
Hmm.
if I want like fucking tech house, like that's some
Yeah,
after hour shit that happens over here
yeah,
at like 2 in the morning to like
yeah.
6 in
Some
a
LA
fucking
shit.
underground warehouse shit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
man.
That doesn't just
Yeah.
happen at the regular bar, and that bar was playing it, and even the following one was kind of on
It
that
was
same
even
vibe.
bigger.
Yeah,
It
like
was
bigger.
even
It was bigger,
bigger.
but with the same kind of music.
Yeah.
And then they had like an open patio area that was cool. Like that's just Miami. Like they all have open patio areas apparently, right?
And then it was raining too, bro, and nobody gave a shit.
Yeah, yeah, bro. It was
It
cool.
was cool, dude. It
Yeah,
was a lot of fun, man. And then, well, yeah, just seeing things open over there, it just felt good to be. Because, dude, I'm not gonna lie, dude, I went maybe 2 weeks prior to that. I went down to LA. And it was just something that me and my girl used to do a lot. We would just go down there, go to like Grand Central Market, eat some good food down there, and then maybe go to a bar or something.
right.
Everything was closed, man.
Mm,
And even the places that were open, there was lines to get in, like
yeah,
lines,
yeah,
and just to go to a brewery.
yeah.
And not to mention, I feel like it might be a little bit dangerous out there right now. Um, it feels lawless, dog. It
Yeah,
feels different,
yeah,
man.
for sure,
You
for
know,
sure.
yeah. So hopefully that all comes back, man, because I do miss LA the way
Yeah,
it was before.
yeah.
And then
We all do.
the yeah the cool thing about all of that was just the culture, the music, the vibes. I can basically pick any night of the week and find something to do out there, and or baseball games are coming back too. One of my
Yeah,
favorite things to do was go to a baseball game and then end up at the shortstop, and go to Motown Mondays with the Dodger jersey on.
yeah, yeah.
I miss stuff like that,
Right.
but at the same time, uh,
In due time.
you know,
Yeah, in
in
due
due
time.
time,
It's coming. It's coming.
it's coming back. But yeah, bro.
Well,
Uh,
before we like close it, the last thing that I do is I always give an opportunity to like for someone to help you in any way, shape, or
yeah,
form. So whether it's like
mhm,
building your social media stuff,
yeah,
um, or I don't know, you're looking for like a graphic designer or whatever the case it is. Like we have a
hmm,
bunch of people that listen to the show, so I think that a lot of times people want to help, but they don't know how. So
yeah,
that's why I rather just be like, hey man, like let's just put it out there, like you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, for me, I definitely need to focus on the social media aspect. I am learning how to video edit. I just bought Final Cut Pro.
Mm.
So anybody that I know, I was talking to Flowtron when we were out there, and I was asking him 21 questions about just video editing,
You had him buy
and
a shirt
well,
like,
yeah,
hey man, I need some info.
You know, basically just trying to learn, man. Anything I can get, bro. Because it's just so much easier when you have someone there that knows what they're doing,
Right.
instead of you're just kind of, you know, like fly little bird. You know, you're off and you do it by yourself, and you're trying to learn it by
The
yourself.
good
Um,
analogy is when your parents throw you in the pool without no fucking training.
yeah, yeah, dude. So anywhere I can get a jump start on that, I mean, I'm all for it. Even graphic design, dude. Like anybody that and obviously, you know, I don't really have I do have a logo. My buddies made me my logo, but I'm actually open to just for everything, especially when it comes to like creating the videos. There's gonna be a logo that's involved in there. Even with uh, actual music too, man. Like introduction music to the video, basically creating a theme song for the brand too. You
Mm,
know, and anytime that you have your videos playing or playing in the background, I know with copyright infringement, you can't really just play anything out there. So it's smart to have your own uh, music to
yeah.
your own brand, you know, depending on what that is. I was talking to somebody that was willing to help me out with that, but at this point, you know, like I'm down for anything, you know,
Yeah.
especially when someone's at. It might be a good marketing opportunity too for everybody, because obviously whatever is being done, it's especially with like my social media, if someone shares, like a videographer or photographer takes a picture, like I'm going to show them the love too. And then obviously if it's something of exchanging goods and services, it's also, and just having that opportunity to meet new people that do good work, man. That's you never know, man. It might open a new door for them too. It might open a new business relationship
Right.
also.
Right.
um
If
but
oh,
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
if someone wanted to, like, get in contact with you or whatever, like, what's a good way to, the easiest way to do that?
My social media. And see, that's another thing too, bro. Can you believe I do not even have like my business social media? Like I don't have a, because my company's name is RK Event Lighting.
Mm-hmm.
RK stands for Radioklash with
Right.
a K,
Right.
which is my DJ name. So it would be at Radioklash with a K at for the username on Instagram. Or
Right.
if not, you know, for Gmail it would be radioclash at Gmail if they want to send an email.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, looking forward to the future on building this growth. I feel like the more people we surround each other with that have that same business mindset, but at the same time, positive vibes. You know, just being good people, being
Yeah.
around good people that understand what we're doing, and even the naysayers, dude. Like, have sprinkle a little bit of those on there too, bro, because that pumps me up too, man. Just, you know, people telling me that I can't do it, you know, and then you show them that it can happen, bro. Dude, well, quick thing today, just even at work, bro. Uh, I had someone in there, and they were like, "Well, what else are you gonna do? Is that the same thing? The whole DJing? Is that all you're gonna do?" They couldn't comprehend the idea of this is a good way to make a good living.
Yeah.
And that, you know, it just kind of triggers me. Like, okay, let's go, let's get it done. It kind of put a fire up my butt. Just let's get it done. You know,
Yeah.
um, because yeah, I'm ready to work, dude.
Same.
Um, yeah. So, what's one thing that you took from like our conversation that you feel like you might have that you will apply to what you're doing, or got you thinking like, hey, maybe I should uh start doing something a little bit differently?
Well, I mean, uh the whole like LLC shit, like that's definitely one that
Yeah.
I had my eyes on, but it's like all the more like I said, I started a book and I've been taking my time with it just because it was pretty fucking dense in the beginning. And I was like
Yeah.
driving, like legit, I was listening to it, driving to my parents, and I'm like on the 15, like kind of fucking nodding off. I'm like, all right, I gotta chill. I gotta chill. And
Yeah.
it's important for me to understand that too, because, like you want to like take your time with it because you don't want to just blow past shit and then
Yeah.
not even like be able to retain anything. So
Hmm.
I've been taking my time with it, but definitely gonna have to finish that out sooner than later.
Right.
um And I mean, pretty much just talking about the whole like how you kind of invested all that in your wedding stuff, and that's dope. Like that's been my recent kind of thing too, where I was kind of considering getting some more uplights. I was a little torn though, because I feel like as much as I want them, I know a lot of venues have them too. So kind of like it got me a little discouraged, because
Yeah.
you know how that goes. Like a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people with the venue, because they know that that's another place that they can make money. A lot of
Yeah.
venues now are providing that before I
Providing
can
them.
even
Yeah.
like get a chance to talk to the client. Like they're,
Yeah.
and that's just the way it is, because the more often than not, the client finds the venue before they find the DJ, you know?
That's true, but I can tell you a way around that. Like, so basically, with the events that already booked the uplighting, I explained to them that, do you understand that most likely that the lights that they have are the ones that, how we were previously talking about, are the ones where you plug into the wall and they project the light. You can't adjust the color, whatever color you get at the beginning of your event. If you give them a thumbs up, or sometimes you don't, you agree to it prior to that. And you walk into the venue, you're going to see this color around your entire view or venue. And with my uplightings, the difference is I can adjust on the spot by even the smallest increment. Like, say if you wanted the light to be a little bit more fluorescent instead of white,
Right.
I can do that for you.
Right.
I basically create the light show for them too. So to accent certain focal points, for instance, if we're doing the grand entrance like we did this past Saturday, when the bride and groom came out, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you one more time, Mr. and Mrs. Juarez. Yeah, on my iPad, I have it queued up to where I have a light show synchronized to whatever song that they were going to come out to. You can't do that with venue lighting. I'm the one that does that.
Right.
So I sell them on that. And how do I sell them on that? Is by basically creating the content and showing them.
Yeah.
So you might even have to do a few freebies before you actually can start charging a shit ton of money for shit,
Yeah. But that's good. But that's good what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, because people
Yeah,
don't want
so
to do
there's
that. People don't want to do that in the
yeah,
beginning, but you got to do it
yes,
sometimes.
yeah, you might have to do stuff for free sometimes,
Or
like I just bought.
Or pay a fucking, a videographer for yourself, so you can capture all like your moments.
Yeah, man.
And I mean, that's going to be out of your pocket money, but in the long run, it's an investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And guess what, bro? If you were a LLC, you can properly write that off.
There you go.
And yeah, so because I write it off as a sole proprietor too, but they have to basically give me the invoice and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're just gonna pay someone off out of pocket, there's ways of doing it too, man. Where, yeah, man, like I learned all of this stuff the hard way.
Yeah, I think a lot of us did. A lot of us do. Yeah, for sure. Because there wasn't a fucking instruction manual.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say
no. Yeah. It's,
all right,
it's
man.
That time.
So from behind the booth, thank you once again. I appreciate everyone who was able to tune in, or if you're tuning in later. Once again, this is my friend Radioklash. This is episode 34. Radioklash, we out of here, bro.
Yeah, man. It was a pleasure, bro.
Honor. Yeah, thank you, man. And I look forward to seeing you when shit's normal. Maybe I'll see you on Saturday, and when you ditch Paul.
Yeah.
All right, man. Later.
Might have to stop by. All right, peace out, bro.